I'm feeling different things right now. This song is personal to me. I've listened to this song for years. I love Switchfoot.
It's perfect for you.
Ah, she's like singing out of my soul.
Sometimes we get lost in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize. There's an artist named John Bellion, American singer, songwriter, rapper. Amazing artist. He has such unique compositions. And I saw that he did a version of Switchfoot's song Meant to Live just a few months ago. Switchfoot, an American band, their song, We Were Meant to Live for So Much More. I love that song. And he has a version, so I'm going to listen to it. 6 months ago, it was put on YouTube, 500,000 views almost, and I need to check it out. Are you ready? Join, subscribe, here we go. I'm excited about this one. And Switchfoot put it on their channel.
Fumbling his confidence and wondering why the world has passed him by. Hoping that he's bent for more than arguments and failed attempts to fly.
Let me rewind. I'm probably going to cry. Oh my gosh. I love what John Bellion does with songs, but listen. Oof, just going to get me. Okay, let me start over.
Fumbling his confidence and wondering why the world has passed him by. Hoping that he's bent for more than arguments and failed attempts to fly. We were meant to live for so much more. Have we lost ourselves? Somewhere we live inside. Somewhere we live inside. We were meant to live for so much more. Have we lost ourselves? Somewhere we live inside.
That run.
Dreaming about Providence and whether my sin men have second drive.
Now he's hitting the waves.
Maybe we've been living with a rush of rain. Maybe we're bent and broken. We were meant to live for so much more. Have we lost ourselves? Somewhere we live inside. Somewhere we live inside. We were meant to live for so much more. Have we lost ourselves? Somewhere we live inside. We want more than this world's got to offer. We want more than this world's got to offer. We want more than the wars of our fathers. And everything inside screams for second life. Somewhere we live inside. And somewhere we live inside. Somewhere we live inside. Somewhere we live inside.
I'm going to listen to this again with you guys. Oh, friends. Life hurts so beautifully. What I mean by that is that it's so beautiful to be alive, but it also hurts like a mother sucker. I'm feeling different things right now. I'm thinking of this song is personal to me. I've listened to this song for years. I love Switchfoot. You got to subscribe to them if you haven't yet. And their song has been out for years. This awesome rock song, and John Bellion version. This John Bellion version is just a beautiful interpretation, a beautiful remake. It's not a cover. It's a beautiful version of it. I love the orchestra. The violin just adds so much emotion and dynamic and crescendo here. What he was doing with his voice from the runs to that build, the crescendo, these crazy high notes that he was doing, sounded like a cry, sounded like a scream at times, going from soft notes to full blown belting. Amazing, amazing vocal performance. Like I said, the orchestra, the crescendo, the drums, these different elements that were coming in that were really making this a beautiful composition. The lyrics are powerful, and we'll talk about those in a second. But the video was also very touching. I was confused at one part when the dad was screaming. I don't know if he was saying it's time to go, as in like it's time to go to work, or if he was yelling at him and there was an element here of abuse, because the young man, who at first I thought was the big brother of the child and might be, or maybe he was the dad and the older gentleman was grandpa and the young man's father. I wasn't quite sure what that meant. Was this him trying to wake him up, him calling him? Was that him needing him, crying for help, or was that him yelling at him? And maybe, as parents do, yelling, or there being an element of abuse here, and the young man waking up in an element of frustration, going for a run, screaming. It was different ways to interpret that, and I think that is a very poetic way, a very wise way of setting this music video up, because it creates, while a story, it creates a story that is relatable and we can interpret and pull pieces from individually that all fit to every one of us in our own way. It made me think of my brother. It made me think of dynamics with our father. It made me think of what I want for my sons and their father, my husband, right? Their various dynamics, or what I am grateful for between my sons and their father, what I longed for my brothers and our dad. Like, just there's this mix of feelings of the beauty of taking care of the next generation, the work it takes to break those cycles, being there for the child, being there for the next generation. There are ways to interpret this therapeutically and say, this is what we need to do for our inner child, right? Maybe this idea, not so much of us being a good parent to our children, though that is highly essential and important for us to break those generational cycles, but also a need for us to heal our own inner child. The goal of therapy, I read in Dr. Yalom's novel, Lying on the Couch, the idea, the concept that was presented was the goal of therapy is that you become your own mother and father. And I like that. It stood out to me because I thought that's healing. When we can parent ourselves, when we learn internally to heal and grow, and that internal locus of control, as it's called in psychology, that the things that drive us and motivate us are coming from the inside, internally versus externally, where I'm not just constantly looking outside to other people and things and whatnot to ease my existential fears and give me a sense of freedom and peace and repair what's been broken, but instead it comes from the inside out. And that takes significant work. That takes paying attention to what we're thinking about. What are we telling ourselves? It's said that, the things that we say, even if we just say them in passing or we don't fully mean it, our ears hear, our mind perceives, and what we're thinking about affects our body, right? Though we can't rewrite our DNA, trauma can affect how that alphabet, if you will, how that structure is interpreted and how it plays out in our body in a day-to-day. So while we can't just completely reframe our DNA and our genetic structure, trauma can have an impact on how it's interpreted and how things are being read and interpreted in our bodies. And the same goes for what happens when we speak, right? If I were to tell myself constantly that I'm ugly, 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 right? My mind is hearing this. And my mind is processing conscious and subconsciously, and it affects how I feel. My psyche affects my body, my soma, right? So a lot of times we can see a correlation. They say stress lowers the immune system, that being a good example, right? We have an impact on what we're thinking of feeling on our body and what's happening in our system. But when I speak life, I'm beautiful, I'm loved, life is wonderful, there is hope, it's going to be okay, right? I'm programming myself. Those neural pathways in my mind are connecting and firing in a certain way. And so in a sense, I take this imagery of that young man and this boy, it could be a little brother or a son, to also be a reflection of that parenting our inner child. And so since that song is called Meant to Live for so much more, it ministers to me, touches my heart, because I think there's hope, right? We see a young man going through the mundane at the port, at the harbor, right? Fishing and on the boat, working, doing his thing. He's smiling, laughing, finding joy even in the mundane job, talking to his coworker or friend. But then also somehow also the grief of the ordinary, right? Going through the motion, longing for that prosperity, dreaming of providence, right? Dreaming of that provision. Things would change. Then you see the dynamics of him running and screaming. Maybe his father is dying. Maybe his father hurt him or abused him or yelled at him. However, if that was meant, running, right? We do that in life too. We run, which can be therapeutic as a side note, very good for us to move our body. But even symbolic of what we do in life, we run. We're always on the run, always busy. And we don't necessarily stop to process. And so him coming home and then choosing to take off his father's shoes, to kneel at someone's feet. And, just to use a religious comparison here, the story of Jesus, who was looked at as a rabbi, as a teacher, kneeling down and washing his disciple, his followers, his students' feet. That was an act of humility. It was supposed to be an example of how those who follow him or who follow his teachings are supposed to treat other people. And there's something beautiful about that, regardless of your religious affiliation, of this idea of serving someone, getting down on your knees and washing someone else's feet. The part, for one, that has a strong impact on our overall health, right? We're learning more and more that feet are way more connected to the rest of our body when it comes to health than we realize. But they're also the part of our body that carry us, that hold us up. They're also the part of the body that continuously touches the ground, right? That connect us to the earth and through gravity. Kneeling down, washing someone's feet, even back then in those times, to think of all the dirt and all the nasty that was accumulated, washing someone's feet. An idea, a picture of serving. So he's taking off his shoes. Maybe also this picture of it's time to rest, right? It's my time to run now. It's my time. You're passing the baton to me. It's my time to raise my son or little brother now. It's my time to step up. I'm taking off your shoes so you can get off your feet and you can lay down and rest. This older man looking at him, perhaps also an act of forgiveness. This idea that when you've been hurt by your parents or by the former generation, your ancestors, your parents, your guardian, and they're getting old now and they're getting ready to lay down in this life that we were meant to live, this act of humbling yourself, taking off their shoes, laying them down, maybe also a message of, I forgive you, I release you. Because, he had yelled at him. Again, I don't know how that was meant, but let's just say it was abusive. Let's just say it was a parent failing, because we all do, right? We make mistakes. We yell at our kids. Hopefully we ask for forgiveness and do better henceforth. Sometimes parents keep doing it and it's abusive. Regardless of the case or what that was, he came back to his father's house. He embraced him. There was this message of forgiveness. Laid him down, playing with his son, his little brother. It was just such a beautiful way of touching on, in one song, in 3.5 minutes, on so many aspects of what life is about. Our work, water and air, right? The things, the elements that are part of nature, right? The little boy standing in front of the ocean, the water, this eternal water that feels so vast and so never ending, right? We're made up out of water. Our planet's made up out of a lot of water. We're surrounded by nature and beautiful things like the sea. But we're also surrounded by the mundane, hard work, stinky fish, right? Just trying to provide. We're surrounded by people. Our life is full of relationships with the next generation and those who've come before us. There's so many elements and dynamics in this one song. And the lyrics, you guys, the lyrics of Meant to Live are absolutely beautiful and relatable. Fumbling his confidence and wondering why the world has passed him by, right? Someone who's struggling with confidence. A lot of you men need to hear this, because the way you guys responded to Dax's song "To Be a Man" just showed me there are a lot of men out there working so hard, hurting, and feeling like they can't really say what's going on. And I understand from the comment section, just, learning from men's point of view, that you guys also don't necessarily need to talk about it the way we women do, right? It's even though it's been said that you're not allowed to, or don't have the freedom to express that struggle and pain as much as a woman would be expected to. You also don't necessarily have that ingrained need for that, but it's still important and good to be seen and to be appreciated, to be respected. And so I heard those words, and it made me think of a lot of the men out there who are working hard, who are going through the motion, wondering, why is the world passed me by, right? My life was supposed to be completely different, fumbling with confidence, fumbling his confidence. I know this is also relatable to women in their own way when it comes to confidence and trying to feel enough, trying to be loved and seen and beautiful. And even as humans in general, this concept of the world has passed me by. We grow up and we move from childish ways to adulthood and all that comes with that. And we go, wait a minute, what happened? Like that, I've experienced that myself. I look back to certain years and I go, how did time fly by so fast? And everything kind of went different than what I thought. I was so sure of certain things, and now life's just gotten way more complex. Hoping that he's bet for more than arguments and failed attempts to fly. So basically, I guess this idea of saying, I'm hoping that I'm meant for more, but instead of saying meant for more, because those will be the words in the chorus, meant to live for so much more, bet for more, to me implies when you cast a bet, right? It's kind of a chance thing. You put your cards on, you put the cards on the deck. It's almost like life is a game, perhaps, this concept. For more than arguments and failed attempts to fly. And that word here also implies that relational element that is a big part of our lives. Arguments, failed attempts to fly, wanting to go more and higher, but failing at it. We were meant to live for so much more. Have we lost ourselves? Somewhere we live inside. So to me, that's twofold. Have we lost ourselves? That being a question in and of itself. Somewhere we live inside. So ultimately saying we live inside somewhere. We, our existence, our identity, us, life, existence is somewhere inside. Or it could be taken as one whole question and statement. Have we lost ourselves somewhere we live inside? Have we lost ourselves somewhere? As in like, are we lost somehow inside of us? We've lost our way and it's somehow locked in here. And I feel like the song powerfully, poetically, and beautifully tackles those existential struggles, our existential fears, our death anxieties, our longing for freedom and for relationship, right? These core topics that we could talk about when it comes to existentialism, our existence as beings. We were meant to live for so much more. Dreaming about providence, and whether mice or men have second tries. Interesting. I love that rhyme here, mice or men, that alliteration, okay? Mice or men. Interesting to compare a tiny little animal that's going around the motion like the hamster in the wheel and comparing men, right? At the end of the day, both being the same. We're hustling about, we're looking for food, we're going around the wheel, and although that's often more used with hamsters, but you know what I mean? Kind of like animals, and then we die. Are we meant for second tries? Do we have a second chance? Is there more here? Maybe we've been living with our eyes half open. When you're living with your eyes half open, you see part in part and you don't see the rest. Maybe we're bent and broken. That verbiage, that hit me a bit because I feel bent and broken sometimes. I don't know about you. Life is a way of breaking us, bending us, but there's something beautiful about the song and the violin and the way that John Bellion was belting this. Did you like that alliteration? Because it still brought in so much life. He still sang with so much hope. Even though it's a sombering song, there was something in me, just in general, because the song also evokes that feeling in me. It made me want to break out and scream and just grab life and savor it. You know what I mean? As long as I'm still breathing. We were meant to live for so much more. We were meant to live, and that repeats, have we lost ourselves somewhere we live inside? We want more than this world's got to offer. We want more than this world's got to offer. We want more than the wars of our fathers. And that is powerful because to me, on one hand, it addresses what humanity keeps finding ourselves in, which works with the arguments part it spoke of earlier, right? The wars our parents fight, our fathers have fought. But it also implies to me not just literal war, but also that general fight, that general war we find in life for providing, for hustle, for making ends meet, and arguments we work through, those wars. We want more than that. Everything inside screams for second life, right? There's so much more. And I used to listen to that, and I still think, in a sense, there's this longing for more after this life, a second life, right? Afterlife, hope afterward. But at the same time, I'm also thinking it needs to start here. I used to maybe look at it more as an afterlife thing. Perhaps I don't remember everything that I thought at the time. But now I'm thinking there is a way, there's a longing inside of me, inside of many of us, I believe, for a second life now. And I believe that's possible. And it's not a magic thinking, manifestation, dream it and you'll have it, dream it and receive it. But there's hope to choose right, to choose life. If you want some of this merch, by the way, check out my store in the link. There's a way to choose life, to make decisions now to say, you know what? We were meant to live for so much more. I may feel bent and broken, but I am still alive. I can still forgive. I can still serve. I can still run. I can still breathe. I can still make a difference and do something with this life. We were meant to live for so much more. And I love that it then ends with, we were meant to live. So it talks about we want more than this world has to offer, okay? We want more than that. But it ends with saying we were meant to live and not, again, saying for so much more. It comes back down, to me at least, to what it's about. We were meant to live for more than going through the hustle and bustle, more for living just to die, for fighting and wars. We were meant to live for so much more. But then saying we were meant to live. Go and live. Choose life. Breathe. Love. Trust, hope, believe. And I'm not saying this as like a wishful kumbaya, boom, bada bang. I'm saying this as truth, right? What you say, what you do today can have an effect on the next 5 minutes and the next 5 minutes after that. There is hope. You were meant to live for so much more. You were meant to live. One in a, 14 billion chance that we're even here, scientifically speaking. And you're here. And you're amazing. So remember that. You are loved. You matter. Live life. I loved this. What did you think? I'll see you on the next ride. Ayo!